Please, don't hurt me, I can't walk. Those were the trembling words that echoed through the dimly lit auto shop that night, words no one expected to hear from a man who owned half the city. Before you dive in, make sure you hit like and subscribe, because what happens next will leave you believing that miracles don't always come from heaven. Sometimes, they wear oil-stained overalls. The night was quiet except for the clinking sound of tools. Malik, a single father and a mechanic in his late 30s, was finishing up his last repair for the day. The flickering light above him buzzed like it was tired too. His hands were scarred from years of hard labor, and his shirt smelled of engine oil, but he carried a heart softer than most. His little daughter, Aisha, only 8, sat on a stool nearby, drawing flowers on a piece of old cardboard. She was his light, his reason, his promise to never give up, not after her mother had left when she was still a baby. Just as Malik wiped his hands clean and locked the shop door, he heard a car screeching outside, a luxury SUV, spinning out of control. The vehicle crashed into a lamppost not far from the shop, smoke hissing from under the hood. Malik didn't think twice. He grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the wreck. Inside was a man, bleeding from his forehead, struggling to open the door. Malik smashed the window and pulled him out. But as soon as the man hit the ground, he screamed, "Please. Don't hurt me, I can't walk." Malik froze. The man wasn't just hurt, he was terrified. His trembling hands clutched Malik's arm like he was fighting ghosts. Hey, it's okay," Malik said gently. "I'm not gonna hurt you. You're safe now." The man's breathing slowed a little, but his eyes stayed wide, lost, broken. Hours later, after the ambulance took him away, Malik went back inside, thinking about that fear. He couldn't shake it. The next morning, a black limousine stopped outside his tiny workshop. 2 men in suits stepped out and said their boss wanted to see him. Malik hesitated, but followed them to the biggest mansion in the city, one that looked like it belonged to royalty. Inside, sitting in a wheelchair, was the same man from last night. His name was Ethan Cole, CEO of one of the world's largest tech companies. "I remember your face," Ethan said softly. "You pulled me out of that car. You saved my life." Malik smiled awkwardly. Anyone would have done the same. But Ethan shook his head. "No, you don't know the kind of world I live in. No one does anything for free there." Days turned into weeks. Ethan called Malik again, this time asking him to fix a collection of vintage cars in his garage. Malik agreed. It was good money, and he needed every penny for Aisha's school fees. As Malik worked, Ethan began spending time with him and Aisha. The little girl would sit by Ethan's chair, telling him stories while Malik worked. Slowly, Ethan's bitterness began to fade. He had lost his legs in a helicopter crash 2 years ago, and though he had everything money could buy, he hadn't walked, smiled, or trusted anyone since. But Malik didn't treat him like a CEO. He treated him like a man, someone broken but still human. One evening, while Aisha played outside, Ethan asked, "How do you do it? Smile through all this. You work all day, live in a tiny apartment, and yet you seem happy." Malik looked at his grease-covered hands and replied, "Because I still have what matters. Love, purpose. My little girl reminds me that broken things can still move forward, even without wheels." That night changed Ethan. He started therapy again, pushed his limits, and with time, he began using braces to stand. Every small victory, he shared with Malik and Aisha, who cheered him on like family. But life had one more test in store. One afternoon, Ethan's company board voted to remove him as CEO, claiming he was unfit to lead. The man who had built an empire was now being discarded like an old tool. He was crushed. He called Malik and whispered, "Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm nothing without my legs." Malik showed up at his mansion that night, drenched in rain, his hands trembling with emotion. "You listen to me," he said. "You built everything they stand on. You don't need legs to stand tall, you just need heart. And you've got one bigger than most men I've ever met." Those words reignited something inside Ethan. With Malik's help, he returned to the company the next morning, not to beg, but to fight. He gave a speech that silenced everyone in that boardroom. "I may not walk like you. But I stood through pain that would have broken you. I learned from a mechanic that real power isn't money or muscle, it's the courage to keep going when life takes away your balance." The crowd gave him a standing ovation. The same men who tried to remove him now applauded him. Months later, Ethan started a new foundation, Wheels of Hope, to provide free wheelchairs, prosthetics, and education for people with disabilities. He named the first branch after Malik's daughter, Aisha's hands. At the opening ceremony, Ethan stood up, without help, for the first time in front of hundreds of people. He looked at Malik in the crowd, smiled, and said, "You didn't just fix engines, brother. You fixed me." Tears filled Malik's eyes. Aisha clapped the loudest, her tiny hands echoing through the hall. By the end, two broken men had rebuilt each other, one from a wheelchair, the other from a workbench, proving that kindness costs nothing but changes everything. So, if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes, stories like these remind us. You don't need to be rich to change a life, you just need to care.